Alrighty. Next up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose 5 careers. We're going to start with an origin, and then we're going to select 4 further careers. For each of these, we're going to go ahead and apply all the attributes that it has listed. Then we're going to take 2 of the listed skills and advance each by 1 point. We can always select a defensive skill instead of a listed skill. It's very handy to note, if your character is starting to run low on defense, you might want to consider that. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose a new career exploit from the ones that are listed. Or we can choose a universal exploit. That starts on page 51. Okay, let's decide on careers. Our options for origin careers, I think in this case, it feels like I want to boost my agility, my intuition, and my luck as much as possible. Charisma is also pretty important. I think orphan might be great here. It gives me stuff like brawling, stealth, thievery, running, bluffing, and performance. Let's go with the orphan origin career. That's going to give me a +1 to agility, which now boosts it up to a 7. Intuition +1, which now becomes a 5. Charisma +1, also becoming a 5. And luck +1, also becoming a 5. Skill choices are brawling, stealth, thievery, running, bluffing, and performance. So I think I'm going to go with stealth. If I go with the kind of bounty hunter route, stealth could be pretty important here. Next, we want to think with probably running. I think running will be great. And if I go with bluffing, I can go up to a grade 2. Now, that doesn't give me 2 dice just yet, but if I get a 3rd grade in bluffing, that could bring me up to 3 dice. And bluffing is pretty handy. I think we'll go ahead and raise that to grade 2. I also get the urchin exploit. You are very familiar with urban backgrounds and are able to easily blend in. With a 1-hour period in a new city, you are able to name local crime figures. That could be pretty handy depending on the kind of campaign that we're running. Now, I'm also going to take note that that goes under the life path section. And it's also time for me to start rolling some dice. Some people like to roll their dice at the end of their career selection. Either way is fine. But for the orphan career, for the origin, it's going to be a 2d6 + 6. So I'm going to roll 2 6-sided dice. I rolled a 4, so that means that I spent 10 years as an orphan. And we're marking 1 grade down as the orphan origin career. Technically, you can take an origin career multiple times if you'd like. But I don't think that really helps us in this case. There's a lot of different things that can help us. If we wanted to, we could put 4 career grades into bounty hunter, which would make us a very much a one-dimensional kind of character. A lot of people enjoy that, and it will give us a lot of the stats that we'll probably need to help us along the way. It's not a bad choice. We've got some good options for exploits, but I think we want to diversify just a little bit. Our main goal is to try and get our agility up to 10, which will allow us to shoot very well. But we're also going to need some kind of skills to help us with a pistol. So let's take a look at some of the other career options that might help us. Detective would be a good choice. We might get some good options with some skills that we might not really think we need now, but we could need later on. It's got 0 prerequisites, which means we can use it right away. And this is going to boost our agility now up to an 8. Our intuition is going to get boosted by 2, which boosts it up to 7. Our charisma score is going to go up to a 6, now giving us 3 dice in charisma. That's great. And let's look at our skill choices. Interrogation, pistols, driving, bureaucracy, perception, intimidate, stealth, tracking, and law. All of these are super good in my opinion. This is a tough choice. But I think if I'm still under that impression that I really want to be a sort of bounty hunter type of character, I definitely want to have a few certain skills. Number 1, I think I want to have pistols. It's very important. I want to have some kind of weapon skill. I'm going to need that. So we're going to give ourselves level 1 in pistols. The next choice I think what we're going to do is something that's going to help us probably find our target. So let's, I'm thinking either interrogation, perception, tracking, or law. Maybe even intimidation. Honestly, most of these skills are good. I think what we're going to go with, though, ultimately, though, is we're going to go with interrogation. I kind of want to play a more aggressive character. So we'll put 1 grade interrogation. Then we have a choice of exploits. We can do clues. If there are any clues to find at a crime scene, you automatically find them within 5 minutes. Criminal record. You can freely access police databanks and automatically discover any information held on file about a suspect. Hull number. You can request a starship hull number lookup and automatically determine the registered owner and port of registration of a starship. I really like criminal record here. Also, hull number is very good. Very situational, but I think situations that you're going to come across fairly often. Let's go with criminal record. Why don't we go ahead and roll for detective age? Let's see how long we're staying detective. Most of the career choices are a 1d6 to determine how long we stay in the career. For detective, it's no different. 5 years as a detective. Okay, let's decide on another career. Do we want to stick with detective? If we do, we're going to get a much higher intuition score, and we're going to get agility up to 9, as well as getting charisma up. Not bad choices. We don't go up any dice yet, though. Something to keep in mind. We could take another level in detective, and we could pick up a hull number, which is great. And there's also some good skills here. But let's take a look around. Maybe we've got some better options. Looking further into careers, I see that space jockey might be an interesting choice. It'll give us some agility. It'll give us some endurance, which we're a little low on. It'll give us logic and luck, which will allow us to sort of get a few attributes raised up to where we might want them. I kind of like that. And it's also going to give us some interesting skill choices as well as exploits. Let's go with space jockey next. Okay, so let's go ahead and start adding our attributes for the space jockey. Agility +1 brings us up to a 9. Endurance +1 brings us up to a 4. Logic +1 brings us up to a 4. Luck +1 brings us up to a 6. That's great. Now we've got 3 dice for luck. Our skill choices are 0G, engineering, carousing, piloting, and computers. Some of these could be really useful. I like the idea of having some piloting, so let's put piloting in. Computers could also be very useful. Personally, I use that a lot in the warped games that we do. It could help us hunt down our targets. Then, let's choose an exploit. G-forces. You are trained to resist G-forces. You gain Soak 5 to crushing damage. Space sickness. Nearly every astronaut gets sick. You learn to ignore it. You become immune to sickness conditions. 0G monkey. You gain an effective fly speed equal to your regular speed in 0G environments. Mr. Fix-It. You gain a plus 1d6 bonus to rolls made to repair ships. Hitchhiker. You can get free passage for yourself and your party on civilian vessels. Used market. You know many starship dealers and merchants. You can save 10% on the cost of starship components. I think for the character that we're trying to make, we don't really need to do any kind of engineering things. Looking at these exploits, I'm tempted to take Hitchhiker. You can gain free passage for yourself and your party on civilian vessels. That could be very handy. I think we'll go with that. Okay, we've chosen an exploit. Let's roll another die and see how many years we stay as a space jockey. Looks like we got ourselves a 4. 4 more years. Okay, let's choose another career. Right now, in terms of attribute scores, our rep is pretty low. I think we want to have something that'll help us get some more reputation. So that's something to keep in mind when we're looking up our skills and our options for a career. We could go with Smuggler. Smuggler's not bad. If we go with Bounty Hunter, what does that give us? Bounty Hunter gives us some reputation. That wouldn't be a terrible choice. Getting something that might give us some more endurance might be good too. Maybe we spend another grade in career in Space Jockey. Could be good. Gives us some good attributes. It'll give us agility. We don't really need agility right now. I personally like to have my endurance a little bit higher for my characters. If you're going the route of a bounty hunter, it's very possible you're going to be getting into a fair amount of fights. So it might be a smart idea to get yourself some endurance. Let's see what our other options are. Spartan Battle School, not really going to work. We're feeling. We could go as a scout, special forces. That'll give us strength and endurance, which we are lacking a little bit. It'll also bump our intuition up to 8. I kind of like that one. The only disadvantage is we don't really have any reputation. That could be a problem. It is difficult to get your reputation up. But I still like the idea of going scout, special forces. We do have stealth, which is a prerequisite. I think we're going to go ahead and take that. Scout, special forces is our next career choice. Okay, this is going to boost our strength up to a 3, which will allow us to roll 2 dice now for strength. It's going to boost our agility up to 10. That's 4 dice. That's fantastic. If you really, really want to be good at something at the starting point of the game, getting a 10 in one attribute is very helpful. Endurance, going to move up to a 5 now. Intuition, going to move up to 8. Let's take a look at our skill choices. Combat, stealth, thievery, escape arts, acrobatics, climbing, survival, tracking, and running. I think in our case, running could be very good. Could be very handy to be fast. If we look at combat, what are our options there for skills? Combat's in brackets, which means that we can actually look at the entire category, which may allow us to choose something that we're lacking or that we want to increase in skill in. If we get a higher skill level in the armor, it will help us in determining the defense score later on. I think for a bounty hunter, we might want to consider a medium armor. So I think, actually, I'm going to go ahead and use my combat option for skills here and choose medium armor. Next choice, let's decide on what we want for our second skill. We've got a few options here. Some we already have. If we decide to take those, we'll go up to grade 2 in them, which is not a bad thing. If, again, I really want to push the sort of bounty hunter kind of character that I have in my head, tracking could be very handy. So we don't have one yet in tracking. I think we're going to need that. So let's take tracking and put that at grade 1. As far as exploit goes, we can take quick hide. You're able to disappear while in plain sight. You can make a stealth check even while under observation to move your speed and become effectively invisible for a round. You may then make a regular stealth check as normal, but cannot repeat this feat against the same observer. We could take hustle, which will increase our speed by 2. That's never bad. I like that option. Hostile terrain. You do not suffer penalties for moving across difficult terrain. Also not bad. I think that's very advantageous if you're going to be planet hopping a lot. Swimmer. You gain swim speed equal to your regular speed. Climber. You gain a climb speed equal to your regular speed. I think in this case we want to take hustle. And let's roll to determine how many years we stay as a scout. 5. All right, right now we've got 4 of our careers. Considering we want to play a bounty hunter, it might be smart for us to take that as a career choice. So let's bring that in as the last option here. Bounty hunter. It's got no prerequisites. We're going to increase our agility to 11. Our intuition is going to go up to a 9. Our luck is going to go up to a 7. And our reputation is going to go up to 1. Hooray! We finally got our reputation score up. Skill choices. Tracking, piloting, stealth, law, computers, perception, and intimidate. Got some good choices here. I think we need to be cognizant of what we have right now for our current skills. We get the most benefit by taking 1 point in skills most of the time. The very first grade of a skill gives us 1 die to roll immediately. That's very handy. So let's consider possibly taking a skill we don't have yet. We've got a very high agility, and especially for this early in the game. So anything that's agility related, we're probably going to be rolling max dice on anyway. So let's take a look at our options here. We don't have anything in perception yet, and I've found that that's one of the most useful skills in the game. I think I'm going to take perception here. I also have the option of taking another combat choice. I could do that. I think I'm going to take law. As far as exploits go, I can take prey. You may choose a target species. You gain a plus 1d6 bonus to attempts to track targets of that species. Depending on what kind of campaign you're running, you might want to consider talking to your DM about that as an option. That is an extremely useful skill, depending on the campaign. Data mining. You're able to locate a target's current location down to a specific planet by accessing credit, criminal, customs, and other records if you have access to a computer link. It's also very useful. I think I've got a tough choice here, but we're going to go ahead and choose data mining for now. Okay, let's go ahead and roll for how long we're going to stay a bounty hunter. 5 years as a bounty hunter. Okay, and next up, we're going to select either the aim or feint free universal exploit. Now consider that we kind of made ourselves a ranged character with pistols. I think the aim option is our best choice. Let's go ahead and mark that down for our exploit. Next, we have to choose a trait based on your highest or lowest attribute and note that in your descriptor. If we take a look at our highest attribute is definitely agility. Our lowest attribute is going to be willpower. What we do here for the traits is choose a corresponding trait to match either our highest or lowest attribute score, or we can roll for one. I like to roll for things, so let's roll for something right now. Do we want to choose agility, or do we want to improve something that we're weak at? Our options for agility could be nimble, deadeye, or ambidextrous. Ambidextrous is good if we decide that we want to dual wield weapons. If we want Deadeye, Deadeye will allow us to automatically hit with a ranged shot within 2 range increments as long as you do not exchange any attack dice for damage dice or combine it with another exploit. That's pretty handy. A free hit, I like that. Nimble. Nimble will give us a climb speed equal to our regular speed. Now, I don't use climbing a lot in my games, but it's possible that you might. You could be in a very vertical type city atmosphere. It's difficult to know. Maybe you're out in the wilderness a lot. Tough to call. But let's roll for it nonetheless. I like a little random chance added to my character. We've rolled a 6, so that's going to give us ambidextrous. So let's mark that down as our trait exploit. Next, we have to determine our age and apply any age exploits. So let's add together our age. 15, 19, 24, 29. 29 years old for a felon puts us in the adult age category, which means that we don't get any special exploits for being either young or an old character. That's fine. Now that we've figured out all our attribute scores and our skills, we can start to figure out all of our dice pools. For 3 strength, I'm going to have 2 dice. For 11 agility, I'm going to have 4 dice. For 5 endurance, I'm also going to have 2 dice. Intuition 9, 3 dice. Logic 4, 2 dice. Will 3 is going to put me at 2 dice. Charisma 6 is 3 dice. Luck 7, 3 dice. Reputation 1, 1 die. And for Psi, we're at 0. Now that I look at it, all my skills don't go past 3. That means I've got 1 die for all of my skills. That's not bad. It's adding any attribute scores that are applicable in the situation, and for me and the DM to decide when we do our rolls. I think a lot of these are going to be agility-based, so I'm okay.